He banged a bunch of words together that sound cool. That's very dangerous.
What's barely afforded then, now what happens whenever you're, upside down 400 grand? I got literally nothing out of that clip. What's up, homies? This is another episode of Moron Real Estate. We're the Homeboys. I'm Clint Wetherill. This is Scott Adams. You ready to do this?
Yeah, let's get into it. Some new clips today.
All right.
Personally, I think the best strategy right now is just enjoy this year and plan on a recession in 2023. It's pretty much inevitable. The federal government, the Fed, don't fight the Fed is a very well-known saying in Wall Street circles. And they're causing a recession. They're going to escalate rates until the economy slows down and basically just allows us to catch up. If you were alive back in the 80s, when I was a kid, we had a recession in, I believe it was 80, 81, where interest rates were 17, 18, 19, 20, 21% for a mortgage. So those of you born past, mid 90s, you probably never even heard of this before, but we had inflation coming out of the 70s, and the only way to quell it or stop it was to raise interest rates to the point where they pretty much just stopped commerce. And that is the only way, the experts say, to control inflation. So we're going to have to take our medicine for printing inordinate amounts of money, closing down during the pandemic, which caused this boomerang real estate effect. I personally don't think there's any way around it. I have a thriving business, real estate development company, general contracting company, and brokerage. And I'm planning on just 2023 being a recession. So get your business in order. If you're planning on selling a property, sell it, take the cash. I know they say bad news to have cash because of inflation. Well, what the hell are you going to do? Bitcoin is down 20, 30%. Don't even talk about Dogecoin and some of the other weird currencies. You don't really want to buy real estate in a sense to rent because the interest rates have doubled. So you've lost about a third of your income producing ability. Can't buy unless you need a home because you can't rent it back out again or flip it. So just prepare for a recession in 2023. Anything you can sell, you got an extra car, sell it, take the money. Thinking about selling a piece of property, now's the time to sell. I'm listing properties like crazy with my more experienced buyers because they know we're at peak and it's going to be all downhill from there. So be prepared. Do what you can do to just plan on having a good Christmas, good holidays, and come first, second quarter, we're going to be in a recession, folks, and it's probably going to last till the end of next year.
A lot of wisdom. If you want to predict the future, look at the past. And there's a lot of wisdom in it. There's a lot of things I don't agree with, that he said in there, but
like what?
I know interest rates have still popped up, but there's some good cash flowing assets out there that we're still taking them down. Mm-hmm. We're building them. So there's still strategic purchasing you can do in a lot of markets. There's a lot of markets that are priced out. And once the interest rates have jumped like they have, those markets no longer make sense. But there's a few markets like ours that still make sense for cash flowing assets. I think it's a better place to put your money than cash still. I think you do too. Other than that, I pretty much agree with everything that he said.
I thought it was a great conversation that he had with all whoever chose to listen to it. I'd like to actually listen to more. So, heck, get him on the show. Bring him on the Homeboys podcast. Yeah. I'd love to talk to him. It seemed like he was in line with a lot of our thinking. Of course, some of the things that he said was speculative. But everyone's entitled to their opinion. A lot of the things that he said, I actually share a lot of the same opinions that he did. But yeah, I was on the edge of my seat. I thought it was good.
I think one of the hard truths in there that isn't, it's opinion, but I think it's agreed upon almost across the board, which is the Fed is purposefully throwing a bucket of cold water on the economy because inflation is up. It's not a secret. And it's just a matter of how much they cool the economy. How much effect that has.
He compared it to the 80s. I don't think we're going back to anything like the 80s.
Yeah.
But,
70s inflation was out of control. Mm-hmm. It was very scary. And the Fed only had really one lever at that time baked into its system that they could pull to stop inflation, which is to raise interest rates. Now the Fed has this is, it would take a 2-hour episode to talk about all the different ways that the Feds can now manipulate the economy. But there's other ways that they do and can. So interest rates are
Cool clip, my friend. Keep them coming. On to our next clip.
Well, money's a game. You need cash because opportunity is going to come up, and it's a doubles game. So if I put
game.
It's a doubles game. Everything about money is a doubles game.
What's that mean?
A doubles game to me is I pay you $1,000. Can we double it in 6 months? No. How long? In 12 months? Okay, no problem. I'll do a double in a year. Here's $1,000. I get a double back, right? So if you take 1,000 and you double it every year, what happens? 1,000 goes into 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 256, 5, 12, $1 million. $1,000 is 9 doubles away from $1 million.
Wow.
Now you take $1 million and see what happens if we double it 9 times. 1 million goes into 2 million, 4 million, 8 million, 16 million, 32, 64, 128, 256, 5, 12, $1 billion. $1 million is 10 doubles away from $1 billion.
But how do you find the doubles?
Well, that's the game. That's the part of the game. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So the doubles now becomes investment opportunities.
I don't know. Is this supposed to be a math lesson, a business lesson? What is it? I mean,
he banged a bunch of words together that sound cool and said them.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's not easy to just double your money. I mean, there's no such thing as a safe, 3%, return on anything. Nonetheless,
100% return.
100% return. So, I mean, we're in the real estate game. I'm trying to think if there was ever a time in my, 21-year real estate career that I've ever doubled my money. Maybe once. Maybe.
There have been plenty of houses where we have particular investments.
Not many.
Personal.
I mean, we're big on hitting singles and doubles.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, one of the areas that you saw some real estate investors doubling their money here over the last years is that they're junk brokers and deal in crap properties.
Yeah.
We don't deal with that. But like as far as like truly doubling my money, like or us doubling our money, like if we bought something for $50,000 and we made $100, I guess maybe that's happened.
Happened in Florida a bunch for me, but that was.
But let me just say, it's not happened many times in my real estate career. Just the ease of saying, you double your money 9 times and you're a billionaire. I don't know. I think it's silly. I think it's kind of immature. Nice suit, dude, but I don't know. I got literally nothing out of that clip. So.
Well, because there was nothing that he said. He literally told you how many times you have to double your money to go from 1,000 to 1 million, and then he did the same math from 1 million to 1 billion. But he made it seem like, okay, then you just do that. That's the easy part is doing the math. If it was easy to double your money every year, you'd do it 9 times and then you'd be on the beach. So it's ridiculous. It's like let me do a comparative for us. Here's what you guys need to do. If you invest in real estate, what you've got to do is you have to make a 10,000% return. And what you do is you start with $1 million, and then you can have a jet and a Ferrari. So that's how you do it. You make a 10,000% return on any deal that you do, and you're set. Right. There's my advice.
This guy's obviously in fantasy land. The homeboys are in the real world. Thanks for nothing, dude. On to the next one.
Why will flipping houses never build you wealth? Well, flipping houses is a means to create wealth, but flipping houses just generates cash. So you flip a property, let's say you make $30,000 on it, and then maybe you reinvest it into another fix and flip. And yes, you're generating cash flow that way, but when you have strictly cash flow, you're always going to have to find the next deal in order to create more income. So what you need to do with that cash flow is to reinvest it into assets and businesses for the long term that generate residual income. It's not until you have a steady residual income to support your lifestyle that you're truly considered wealthy.
I think it's true.
It's 100% true. We
flip a lot of houses.
We flip a lot of houses. We're able to support a staff that makes a wonderful income. You and I make income from that part of the business, but the truth is that is not wealth building. It's not. That part of our business is not building wealth, and it's a cash flow nightmare. You and I just had a meeting. We just sat down and talked about this. What a nightmare the cash flow is on it. It's incredibly profitable, yet it's still a business that we scratch our heads sometimes and go, why are we even doing it?
Well, you also have to remember that we are real estate investors that are 100% into real estate for our incomes. Most of our clients, they have day jobs. Where their income, helps, their lifestyle. For us in the beginning, generating cash was exceptionally important. Now
Sure.
with the ramp up of our portfolios and the other revenue streams that we have, it's not nearly as important. But she's right. It goes back to a book that a lot of people have read, a lot of entrepreneurs have read. I always get the two mixed up because they're very similar. The Millionaire Mind or the Millionaire Next Door, where they talk about balance sheet millionaires versus income statement millionaires. Income statements can be high revenue, high income producing people, but they don't have anything because they spend
Right.
everything. Whereas,
Well, both books touch on
balance
that.
sheet, they both do.
Yeah. The Millionaire Next
You
Door.
got a better memory than me. Those were 20 years ago that
Yeah,
I read
them
those
in
books,
college.
and I've forgotten which one is which. They kind of go hand in hand, though.
I
Right?
read Millionaire Next Door in college, and that was one of the books that fired me up. But she's right. Everybody thinks flipping is so sexy, and yeah, you can make some money there.
Well, of course it is. I mean, you go through any cable. I go through. I've got Dish Network. You go through. There's a flipping show on around the clock.
Yeah.
Nonstop. Flip this house or the Chip and Joanna. All these people. It's flip. There's a flipping house here in Indianapolis.
Right.
2 chicks and a hammer. That's.
We've got a millionaire friend who does deals with us when it's above our pay grade and we need a couple extra million on him. He jumps in and he's very wealthy, and it's always on at his house. And it's hilarious to watch him getting angry at it when they do the math at the end. He gets so upset because it's not.
Oh, it
real.
is so bogus. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a fake show. I mean, they're all fake shows,
Right.
but it produces, interest, and I watch them. I know you don't, because I'm kind of like our buddy. I get more upset, over it than anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of hurt us because it creates everyone is a real estate investor and a flipper.
I know.
And, it's kind of silly.
What it did is it took away the traditional flip houses from our ability to do them. We used to kind of do two things. We continue to sell turnkey properties for to our clients that we buy, fix up, and sell that are great rentals. We also did just a retail flip like you would see on the TV. Those have been gone for years for us.
Yeah.
They're just gone because everybody's in that game and people are willing to spend. They don't understand the math, and so they overpay. So, A, you don't make a lot. B, really understand the math if you're going to get into flipping. And C, it is not the wealth building. It generates cash.
Good clip.
Yep. Next.
How can someone become wealthy in 2022? Real estate. I was told early in my life, on your first house, go all in. Get as much as you can possibly afford because you'll gain that appreciation, which then allows you to kind of roll that into another house further down the line. The other thing is take more risk early. Take risks with the jobs you take. Take risks with the place that you choose to live.
Okay. It's innocuous sounding. However, you got to think about his first statement there. That someone told him to buy as much house as he possibly can because it will gain more appreciation. That's very dangerous advice.
He lost me there, and then he said a lot of things that I
Correct.
agree
He
with
brought me back.
right afterwards. So I was ready to jump on him, and then came back. I mean, I'm assuming this guy lives in a different part of the country than we do. But I mean, heck, that doesn't make sense either, though. I just can't imagine, telling someone to go buy out of your means on your first house.
Right. Or right at the edge of your means because you will gain more appreciation out of it over the time, which is technically most likely true. But, man, people are just living on this
now,
edge.
though. I mean, the first clip we watched here today was, talking about going into recession. Let's just say this guy is right. I'm going to put all of the onus on this first guy, not anything that we think.
Okay.
This guy says there's going to be a recession. So, I mean, if that is true, and, we see home prices, go back the other way, interest rates go up, that's really dangerous advice that this guy's giving right now. So go spend out of your means,
Right.
you know, and say you are in a market like, you know, maybe let's say he's in the Bay Area,
Right.
you know, where someone out of their mean, you know, average is $1 million. So, you know, someone pays 1.5 million,
Right.
you know, for a place. Say you have a 10% pullback, 15, 20%. You know, you went over your means. You could barely afford
Right.
it then. Now what happens whenever you're, you know, upside down 400 grand and you can't sell the house?
That's a really good point. Think about the Geist area for us when the last recession happened.
It's a big lake community.
Yeah.
It's a, you know, waterfront homes.
Think about the neighborhoods that were deed restricted at $1 million plus, or just happened to be $1 million plus neighborhoods. Those neighborhoods. Think about how many foreclosures there were in those.
I know.
People don't realize that. They think, oh, these millionaires up there, you know, they play with money, the good times and bad. No. These people who move up there live above their means a lot of the time. And when there is a pullback, they're the first people that get foreclosed on. We've seen it happen twice in our careers.
Oh,
Twice.
well, we represent a large regional bank doing their foreclosure work. We've seen all kinds of really expensive homes go through, you know, off of, you know, idiots that are taking advice like this.
Right.
You know, it's very dangerous.
He had some good advice there, though, about taking risks with your jobs when you're young, taking risks with where you live.
Agreed.
You know,
Agreed.
it's neat. Those are the areas you should take risks. You can even take some risks with real estate when you're, you know, young and starting out. Now, I'm not saying take risks with how much you leverage it. I'm saying take risks with where you invest. You could try to play into those cool, hip, up-and-coming areas. You might get burned, but if you're going to do it when you're young's the time to do that stuff. So there's some interesting advice in there. But everybody, listen, we say this every time. I don't understand why this is sweeping the nation. Don't live on the edge of the knife. Don't buy exactly as much house as you possibly can afford. No, have some cushion. Have a little wiggle room. Things don't always go perfect in life. When there's a bump, just have a little bit of cushion there. You will be so grateful.
Amen. That does it for this episode of Moron Real Estate. Thank you for listening to the Homeboys. We heard a lot of really good clips today. They're not always going to be good ones, though. Keep listening. We're going to hammer them home. Happy investing.